Hello, everyone. My name is David Aguilar, and my project is entitled Biosocial Perspectives on Reproduction, Life History Theory, and Latino Culture. So, quick table of contents slash agenda for this meeting will be first, we'll be going through the research background and motivation, research objectives, guiding questions, hypothesis development, methodology, survey development, results, and limitations of the project. So, the research background and motivation for this project stem from the recognition of the interplay between biological and sociocultural factors in shaping human reproductive behaviors. In anthropology, life history theory provides a framework for understanding how organisms allocate their resources across different life stages, including growth, reproduction, and survival. This theory suggests that individuals adopt specific reproductive strategies based on environmental cues and evolutionary pressures to maximize their fitness. However, while life history theory offers valuable insights into reproductive strategies, its applications to human populations requires consideration of cultural and social influences. Human behavior is not solely determined by biological imperatives, but is also shaped by cultural norms, values, and socioeconomic factors. In the context of Latino communities in East Los Angeles, there is a need to explore how cultural practices, migration experiences, socioeconomic status, and access to healthcare intersect with biological factors to influence reproductive decision making. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for developing culturally sensitive interventions and policies aimed at improving reproductive health outcomes and addressing disparities within these communities. The research background and motivation for this project lie in bridging the gap between biological and sociocultural perspectives on reproduction, with the aim of advancing our understanding of human reproductive behaviors and informing public health interventions. So, life history theory is an interdisciplinary framework used in biology, ecology, and anthropology to understand how organisms allocate their resources over the course of their lives. At its core, life history theory posits that organisms face trade offs in resource allocation, such as energy, time, and nutrients, which they must balance to maximize their fitness. These trade offs are influenced by factors such as environmental conditions, predation risk, and competition for resources. In the context of humans, life history theory suggests that individuals adopt specific reproductive strategies based on environmental cues and evolutionary pressures. These strategies can be categorized as slow or fast life histories depending on factors such as age at first reproduction, number of offspring, and parental investment. So, life history strategies involve delaying reproduction, producing fewer offspring with higher levels of parental investment, and prioritizing longevity and stability. Fast life history strategies involve early reproduction, producing more offspring with lower levels of parental investment, and prioritizing short term gains. Studying life history theory in the context of humans offers valuable insights into the evolutionary underpinnings of human behavior, particularly in relation to reproductive strategies and life course decisions. In recent times, anthropologists have taken various critical approaches to life history theory and its applications to human populations. Anthropologists highlight the importance of considering cultural variation in reproductive strategies and behaviors. They argue that life history theory tends to oversimplify human diversity by focusing primarily on biological and evolutionary factors while neglecting the influence of cultural norms, values, and practices. Primarily, critics argue that it often overlooks the social context in which reproductive decisions are made, while not rejecting the fact that evolutionary processes and models do not specifically require reflection or conscious understanding. Many anthropologists also seek to understand how life history theory can be modified, challenged, or accepted by cognition, agency, and individual decision making processes. Owing to this background, this project aims to explore the intersection of life history theory and cultural practices in shaping reproductive strategies among Latinos in East Los Angeles. The objectives for this project were to investigate cultural influence on reproductive behavior, assess the applicability of life history theory within a multicultural and socioeconomically diverse population, to explore the intersections of biology, evolution, and culture, as well as to identify factors shaping reproductive goals among Latinos in East Los Angeles. I apologize if you cannot see some of the text on this slide, as I have no other way of recording, but I will read them aloud, of course. The guiding questions for this research project include: one, how do cultural norms and values influence reproductive goals among Latino adults in East Los Angeles? To what extent do socioeconomic factors impact reproductive decision making within Latino communities? What role do biological factors such as age at first childbirth and number of offspring play in shaping reproductive strategies? And how are these influenced by cultural contexts? As well as how do perceptions of family size and timing of childbirth vary across different cultural and socioeconomic backgrounds, all within the context of East Los Angeles. It was very difficult to develop a hypothesis for this project since life history theory isn't something necessarily that inherently requires any type of reflectivity by participants, and especially since it operates on an evolutionary level. So coming up with a hypothesis for this was a bit difficult, but given what I know already, being Latino and about Latino cultures and families, my hypothesis developed in such a way as it is now. In Latino cultures, the emphasis on large family units reflects both adaptive strategies by evolutionary forces and conscious reproductive decision making influenced by sociocultural factors, diverging from prediction solely based on life history theory. So that doesn't necessarily undermine or challenge directly life history theory and its um, framework, and more so seeks to understand the way that culture goes hand in hand with that theory and how it's influenced or modified by that theory. As of week 5, when this presentation was recorded, I do not yet have IRB approval. It's still pending. Um, so in the meantime, I had been working on conducting primarily a literature review until I obtained the IRB approval to continue human research. But I did conduct semi a very informal semi-structured pilot test last quarter, which I continued to use and analyze and go through and rework the questions for this quarter, along with the, of course, RB submission. It's still pending approval. So as of when this was recorded, I do not yet have it, but this is the methodology I used for the time being. I approached the project with the mixed methods. Data collection, so I used both qualitative and quantitative. My participant recruitment primarily consisted of snowball sampling for the pilot testing. So it was more person that I knew, and then a person that person knew. Data collection, it was collected in person through interviews, answering pre-written questions and asking follow-up questions where I thought were necessary. The pilot test was semi-structured and highly informal. And the data analysis, I primarily used thematic coding, although it proved to be a bit difficult to analyze what I had, given that it was such a small sample size. So how I went about developing the survey, my primary focus was to capture a range of demographic information, which would be the quantitative data, as well as cultural identification, reproductive history, and perceptions of reproductive goals, which would be more of my qualitative data. One good example from my survey is: how important do you think extended family support is in raising children to you and according to your community? I really wanted to leave a lot of the survey questions more open-ended to give space for people to talk about their own perceptions on reproduction, because I figured that not only would we get a lot of the qualitative information about their own agency and expression of reproduction and how they're consciously making those decisions, but also some of the more buzzwords and keywords that they would use, such as I was trying to survive or it was influenced by my income status. Those are also fall in line with a lot of life history theory and its framework. So by leaving it more open-ended, I was able to obtain, just from the pilot test alone, um, both challenges to life history theory as well as things that agree with it. Some of the results from the informal pilot test, reveal that respondents from resource-scarce environments exhibited early reproduction, which is in line with traditional life history theory models. Of course, there was a lot of variability in reproductive strategies that were discussed qualitatively by participants, which sort of challenged the uniformity of life history theory. This study was very limited by how small the sample size was, given that it was only a pilot test. Of course, it's pending IRB approval, and once it's obtained, I shall continue the research work. This is the reference page, and of course, thank you so much for listening to my presentation.